Hello everybody, Raven Knight here. So today we have another how to build faction video. So what I do here is I take not just a singular character, but I build a group of characters up as part of a small faction or organization within the world of For Honor. I try to, mix and match, trying to create a sort of theme around the faction or group. We've done one with a Viking group, a samurai group. We've done one that's a group of monsters. We've done a lot of creative stuff here, I feel like. Today we're going to be looking at one that's a little bit more knight-based, but it's not just going to include the knights. This is the Order of the Righteous Sword. Now, the first thing that I want to say is a few of the characters that are in the Righteous Sword are characters you already know. And the reason why is because this order was founded, believe it or not, by Ruth herself. So Ruth is the first member of the Righteous Sword, which is why we're starting with her. Now, I'm not going to go into how to build her because you already know how. I've already done a how to build Ruth, so go check that out. But the idea was that after becoming disenfranchised with the way the Wardens operate and the way Ashfeld operates at times, after she spent time with Ultor and kind of learned what's really going on under the surface, she decided there needed to be an order specifically dedicated to the safeguarding and preservation of the people. And so she built this organization with that in mind. You don't have to be a knight to join, but you have to be devoted to the protection of the everyday citizen, not just your own faction. So Ruth is a member. We also have Nora, who is a member, and Nora became a member shortly after Ruth did. Also, Deborah became a member. So y'all should know that Deborah is a member of the order. And for those of you wondering if that means that Lamia joins too, since Lamia is kind of her protege. Yes, Lamia joined her as well. And one other person you may know that has joined the order is Bao Shen. Bao Shen is a member of the Order of the Righteous Sword. So all these people are ones that you already know, that you're already familiar with, and so you are aware of these characters. I'm not going to go into how to build them because I've done a how to build for all of these characters thus far, except for, I think, Lamia. I think I did her, but I can't remember if I did. I'll double check, and if I did not, my next how to build video will be on her. Okay? All right. But today what I really want to do is go into the characters that I have not yet shown you. New characters that I've created that are members of the Order of the Righteous Sword. And unfortunately, we only have 3 to go through. I've only added 3 others to this order, but I want to share them with you anyway. So let's get started with the first one. Y'all have seen me play this character a few times, but this is my new Conqueror. This is Evelyn the Mountain. She is a Conqueror. Now, some of you have thought that she might be my other Conqueror build. She is not. There are distinct differences here, and I will go over them in a minute, but first let's talk about her lore. So she was actually a formerly convicted criminal who killed her uncle because her uncle attempted to sexually assault her, and so she killed him in self-defense. Now, the problem was, though she tried to stick up for herself and try to claim that she was an innocent, that all this happened. The problem was her uncle was sympathetic to Horkos, which meant that with him dead, Horkos lost a major source of funding. And so Horkos made it look like she had done it out of malicious intent or out of jealousy. And so she was found guilty and incarcerated during the time of the Inquisition when Horkos basically had enough power and sway to be able to do this. So for years, while under the thumb of Horkos, she was subjected to experimentation through Draconite. Basically, they used Draconite to experiment with her to see what Draconite could do in certain doses to the human body. Now her body has been permanently scarred by the constant Draconite experimentations to the point that her body is gradually petrifying. It is gradually becoming harder and harder for her to move. She has to take special medication to help keep her moving. It's essentially like being petrified, almost like if you've ever seen the second Harry Potter movie where characters are getting petrified by the basilisk. It's a very similar situation. So she is gradually losing her ability to move. And she's very scared of this, and she's hoping she can find a cure. So when she finally escaped Horkos, she joined up with the Order of the Righteous Sword in the hopes that they may be able to help her, that she may be able to find a solution to her problem. And even if she can't, she's going to go out on her own terms, and she's going to use the last of her power to try to fight. So, and that's also the reason why I thought she would use a flail, because here's the thing. If your body is slowly locking up and it's becoming harder to move, you might want a weapon that you don't have to use a whole lot of finesse or style or grace with. You can just kind of swing and it'll give you what you want. You know what I mean? So I thought that would be a creative direction here. So she's kind of a tragic character, but she believes that there could be hope for her. So she is doing everything she can to achieve that. So let's go ahead and go into how to build her. So you got the Bandit Lord Helm, the Medion chest, and the Aldis arms. So let's go through that again. The Bandit Lord Helm, Medion chest, Aldis arms. Okay? For the weapon, you have the Essurientis Ghost Head, the Pelennor handle, and the Invincible Tutoris shield. So that is how you create the armor set for her, okay? Now for the traits. Alternate 2 because she is a girl, but if you want her to go guy, it's fine, I understand. Skin color, default, it's not really going to matter because you're not going to see much of her skin. Chest and back, she has the Beast of Horkos 2 paint pattern, which you get from the Beast of Horkos Elite outfit. No symbol, no embossing. For the ornament, I went with the Crown of Thorns because I thought, good Christian symbol. I thought it would work, actually. I should do a whole Bible study video on the Crown of Thorns and their meaning. But regardless of that, not important. All right, right shoulder. No paint pattern, no symbol. Sorry, I missed it. The embossing is death. The death embossing, which you get from Repetition 13, level 20. And then for the left shoulder, you want no paint pattern, no symbol, but you want the Paisley 2 embossing. I just love the texture that it adds. Now, for the material, I went with bedrock. Now, I thought about going normal or possibly going tar, but I really like bedrock because it makes her look like it. Not only does it make the armor look textured, but it also kind of ties in the idea that she's slowly becoming a statue, if you will. She's slowly petrifying, so she already looks like she's stone and is kind of using that as a reminder of what's happening to her. So I thought that bedrock would look really good here. All right, so standards. She's got the Galaxy 7 paint pattern, which you get from the Galaxy Mythic outfit. You've got the Sun Cross symbol, which you get from Year 1 Heroes bundle, and no embossing. For the left arm, absolutely nothing. You're leaving that shield alone, thank you. And for the color scheme, you want Cautious Ambush, which you get from Fateful Crusades Elite outfit. It just matches so well with the bedrock material, doesn't it? I think it looks really good. Okay, so with all that out of the way, now onto abilities. I went with Body Count, Shield Basher, Heal on Block, Catapult. I thought these are just overall good feats for a Conqueror to have. The body count helps her out in minion clearing. The Shield Basher, I think, works because she is going to hit with a lot of force. She's going to be a little bit zealous and trying to get and trying to do what she can when she can, because her big fear is that she will die having done nothing, and she is going to be a little overzealous in that. Heal on Block. One thing that I think is, even though we talk about the negatives of her Draconite issues, I think a positive could be that she heals very quickly. So Heal on Block, I think, works very well. So a lot of superficial injuries will heal very quickly, but her body is just shutting down. And then Catapult, because Catapult. All right, executions. I went with Feros Ferio, Windmill of Death, the Wind Up, and Pugilism. Now, I like the Windmill of Death and Pugilism, especially because they're slow and it shows her being a little sluggish, like her body is, she's having to force her body to move a bit. Windmill of Death is just too good not to use, but it also doesn't require her whole body to move, just her wrist, which I think works really well. And Feros Ferio is the only one where she does a lot of complicated movements, but even then, it's just using the momentum of the flail to do what she needs to do. For emotes, I use Wraparound and Chain On, and Psyched, and Knucklehead. Thought those were just good. All right, for signature, I use Rough Accolade. I thought about doing Lethia's Fate, but at the same time, I thought that oh wait, hold on, I'm sorry, I gave you the wrong one. I'm sorry, I apologize, everybody. I gave her Escape Artist because of her escaping her confinement, which I thought would be very funny. But the more I think about it, it's kind of like Lethia's Fate kind of fits and it's kind of sad. So maybe we should go with Lethia's Fate. What do you think? Yeah, Lethia's Fate would probably be the sad one here. For effects, okay. I use the Darkness Within. Y'all notice that I've been using this, kind of a symbolic of how the Draconite is kind of seeping through her and slowly is slowly claiming her. But honestly, you could also go with Obsidian Shards. That's another option you could go with. Or you could just go with none. Either way works. And that is how you build Evelyn the Mountain. Hope you guys like her. Let me know what you think in the comment section about her story. Please let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts. So that is the first one. Okay, next up, we're going to go with Orochi. There's an Orochi. Her name is Yamamoto Kaori. All right, so this one's a little complicated. So, here's her story. She was born into the powerful and affluent Yamamoto family. Kaori was born during a meteor shower, so it made a lot of the folks in her family believe that she was destined to do something great. She was destined to be a leader in the family. She was destined to do something really, really cool. And like all samurai children, she was required to learn the basics of combat and war, and she took to the sword very quickly, but her parents did not want her to be a soldier. They were very worried about their baby girl going out and getting killed and getting hurt in war, so they tried to shelter her. They tried to block her from going out and doing what she was meant to do. She, meanwhile, really gained a liking for the sword. She liked training in it, and she began learning in Gingaryu, which is a form of swordsmanship that is practiced only by a few Orochi, and she was doing well in it. But her parents, at the age of 17, said, nope, we're not letting you go do this anymore. We're shutting that down. You're giving up your sword, you're giving up your armor, you're going to be a good princess in our little estate. You're not going to do all this. She got very upset by this and decided that she was going to go out and join anyway. So she ran away from home, found a samurai warband, put on her armor, and basically went out to go fight with them. But then she got her first real taste of war and realized this is kind of bloody and messed up. This is not what I like. She was watching a lot of people die in blood and agony, and she realized, okay, training with a sword is cool and all, and I like it, but maybe my parents were right about this. Maybe I need to grow up a bit more. Maybe there's more I need to do with my life. So she tries to go home, only to discover that while she was away, her parents had gone out to try to look for her, leaving the estate unguarded. It was in flames, and her parents were executed. She now is familyless, she is homeless, and she has nothing but the sword she's carrying with her. And for a while, she resented that sword and hated it. She didn't want anything to do with it until she meets a young traveling monk by the name of Bao Shin. Yes, you know where this is going. Bao Shin kind of took her under his wing, began to teach her basically what she needs to do with herself, making her recognize that taking up the sword is not in and of itself a bad thing. While it was wrong of her to run away the way she did, she can make amends for that by doing what she knows to be right. And that is why she eventually joins the Order of the Righteous Sword, because now she believes that she has to do something meaningful with her life and make up for the sins she committed against her parents. So that is basically her story. Let's go into how to build her. You need the Tosei helm, the Horkos Chitakawa chest, and the Chimera Chonin arms. So that is how you build her armor. For the weapon, Jorogumo blade, Jorogumo hilt, Jorogumo guard, because that's just a really good sword design. Not even gonna lie. Okay, so that is how you build her armor set. Next, for traits. Default 1, I mean, you can go default 2, but she's a girl in the story, so there you go. Skin color, pale. We're gonna go pale because she was sheltered all of her life. She didn't get to go out and do a whole lot, but you could go default if you wanted. It really doesn't matter. Okay, chest and back. You have the Explosive Blast 1 paint pattern, which you get from the Furiously Fast Mythic outfit. The Flower Coin symbol, which you get in an outfit at Reputation 14, no embossing. For the ornament, the Heavy Trio, which you get from the Tenchu Gumi Mythic outfit. For the right shoulder, the Delicate Fiery 1, which you get from Oath of Wyverndale Event Pass. No symbol, no embossing. For the left shoulder, you want the Hunting Bird paint pattern, which you get from Flight of Spring Elite outfit. No symbol, no embossing. For material, black. Not tar, black. Now, you can do tar if you have it. You can do tar. It won't look bad, but I think the black just simply looks fine. I think that it looks good for what we're going for here. It's not too shiny. I want it to just look very basic, like a metal material, not a glassy material. For standards, you want the Meniscus paint pattern, which you get at Outfit of Reputation 10. Now, I'm using a emblem here. It was originally going to be something different until I made the Dark Angels emblem, which I still need to make a video on how to make that, don't I? I keep forgetting. But you can change that out for something else that you feel fits her. So real quick, let me just see what's a good one that I think would fit, and I'll be real quick. You could honestly go with the Wave Wall, which I think works well, or possibly even Crashing Wave, but I think we'll go with Wave Wall for this. So yeah, Wave Wall looks fine. For the legs, you want the Ash Bird paint pattern, which you get from Flight of Spring Elite outfit, and you want the Character 3 from the Furiously Fast Mythic outfit. No embossing. And finally, for the color scheme, you want Knight Aegis, which you get from playing ranked matches. So you need to play Orochi in some rank to get this paint pattern, but you want Knight Aegis. Okay, so that is the basics of how to make her look like this. Now for her abilities. I gave her Ki, Executioner's Respite, longbow, and fear itself. Now, I might change out fear itself with nail bomb or arrow storm. Either of those would work, and I'll explain why. With Ki, again, she's kind of a child of destiny. I thought maybe that involved her having a little bit of ki to her. Executioner's Respite. As she fights her way through opponents and gets kills and gets executions, I could see her gaining some confidence in the fight, so getting that health back. Longbow, because she's trying to avoid getting in too close sometimes, especially in her early years, having a longbow by her side is a good idea to allow her to get in damage and maybe get kills from a distance. I chose Fear itself at first because I thought that maybe she gave off an intimidating aura due to that destiny aspect. But the more I thought about it, the more I thought, that might not make a whole lot of sense because only her family thought that she was a child of destiny. She doesn't think of herself that way. So nail bomb or arrow storm would work just as well. So go with what you think would work best. For executions, I go with agahacho. From above. Senkei. And Roka no Shi. Okay, so one thing that I will say is Roka no Shi you could probably trade out with something else like maybe Seijiro's Finesse or Senbazaru. In fact, Senbazaru is probably a better one. But I went with this one again because of the whole Child of Destiny thing. Now, here's the thing. I want to touch on this for a second before we go further. Your interpretation of that matters here. If you believe that she's honestly a child of destiny and that there is something special about her, like maybe she's been blessed by God or something like that, you're free to interpret it that way and go with what you want. And if you do interpret it that way, Roka no Shi works really well because it kind of seems that way about her, right? But if you don't, you think it's just all kind of something built up in the minds of her family and thus in her own mind, then yeah, you could look at it that way as well. You could see it both ways, and that could impact how you design her executions. But some of these like from above, Senkei, agahacho, probably wouldn't lean too much in that direction. But those are the reasons I picked what I did, because these show off a great deal of style, and Roka no Shi could go into the idea that she is tapping into that destiny that she has. Now for emotes, I use Here I Am and Kill Card. Yeah, she's gotten a little bit arrogant over time. Combat, Twirl-a-Whirl, Arm and Armed. Because keep in mind, even though she's learned the horrors of war, she still has skill. She has still gained a great deal of skill and learned the way of the sword. So she's not without skill. She's just recognized war is not as beautiful and awesome as I thought it was initially. That's the difference. Signature, I went with Ganbaru. And finally for effects, okay, I use Meteor, which you get from the Tenchu Gumi mythic outfit. Now, I would be lying if I didn't say that I mostly chose this because I think it looks awesome. I think it looks really, really good on her. But it also ties into two other things. It ties into the reality that, for one thing, she was born under a meteor shower, so this is a reference to that. But second, I told you that she practiced Ginga-ryu. Ginga in Japanese means galaxy, and Noryu can mean sword style or style. So basically it is called galaxy style, or the way of the galaxy. And so I thought that would fit very well with this effect, which I use for just about everything. All right. Okay, so that is how you build Yamamoto Kaori. Let me know what you think about her. Hit me up in the comments. Tell me what you think, whether or not you're going to make her or not. And now we'll move on to the last one, the pirate, Gloria Lynn. Gloria Lynn. I've been working with her for a while. Y'all have seen me play her in some streams, and now we're finally going to talk about how to build her. So first, let's talk about her backstory. She is a pirate who owes her life to Ruth. Her birth name was Lin Guyen, but she changed her name to Gloria, and we'll get why. She was a captain in the White Flag fleet of the Pirate Federation. During the days of the Inquisition, a friend of hers, Yin Chen, y'all should know that name, joined the Inquisition in an attempt to help protect the innocents from a mad cult, only to end up the enemy of both Horkos and the cult. Yin Chen had no crew to return to or to escape with, because Bo Yin, who was allied with Horkos, had ordered no ship to offer her sanctuary. So, Lin Guyen offered her crew. She ignored the order and gave Yin Chen a vessel from her fleet and helped her escape. So now she's a traitor to Bo Yin and Horkos. So, Lin Guiyin had to run away, and she was chased and eventually cornered in a port town where most of her crew was captured or killed. And while she prepared to die in this fight, she was rescued by the timely arrival of Ruth, Heathmoore, and Ingrid. Know those names? Yeah, you should. She then decided that she owed Ruth her life. She owed Ruth a great debt and allied herself with the Order of the Righteous Sword and offers her fleet for their services. While she was with them, she also converted while she was with them because she didn't have to stay with the pirates. She ended up traveling with Ruth for a little ways and learning her ways, learning the ways of Ashfeld, and joined with the church. And she took the Western name Gloria instead of Guiyin, although she still can be answered to by Lin Guiyin. She also answers to Gloria, so she answers to either name. So that is basically her backstory. Basically a pirate who owes her life to Ruth and has decided to ally herself with Ruth and her goals in the Order of the Righteous Sword. Basically, she's the reason the Righteous Sword can be deployed anywhere in Heathmoore very quickly because she can use her fleet to get them there. And she is still a warrior of some repute. So let's talk about how to build her. Simply put, you use deserter helm, deserter chest, deserter arms. Now, not only does this outfit look good, but she's a deserter. She left the fleet. She is no longer a member of Boyin's crew. She no longer works with the Pirate Federation. So I thought that would work very well for her. So that's how you make her armor set. For her weapon, you need Bygone Rover Blade, Bygone Rover Hilt, and Bygone Rover Pistol. Because I like the kind of sea dragon look. It just looks good. All right, now for traits. Default 1, skin color pale. You could go default, but I just went with pale. All right, chest. Double Sabers 1 paint pattern for the chest. Double Sabers 1 paint pattern. No symbol. For the embossing, this is complicated. You don't see the embossing very well, do you? But if you flip through, you see where it shows up. It is just under her collar, just beneath the neck. Do you see, like, just above the breast area? Do you see how the embossing constantly changes? It's like a tattoo, right? So I went with a sea serpent tattoo, the venomous tide tattoo, which you get from the Tide of Wisdom illustrious outfit. I thought that would work well because in my opinion, if she were to take off her shirt, you would see like she probably has tattoos on her chest and back and stuff like that. So I hinted at the idea of this sea serpent tattoo under there. If you don't have that, you can use Paisley from the Reputation 18 level 20 award. Or you can go with maybe Sword Angel to show her devotion to the church now. So, but I use Venomous Tide. For ornaments, I use the Draconite Gem for no other reason than it looks nice. That's the only reason. You could literally take it off and it would be just fine, but I just use Draconite Gem. All right, for the right shoulder, I use Tide of Wisdom 3 paint pattern, which you get from the illustrious outfit, Tide of Wisdom, and nothing else except, oh wait, why did I use caltrops? You can't see it very, probably just for texture. Add caltrops, which you get from Reputation 3 level 20, but if you don't want to add it, I don't think it'll affect anything. For the left shoulder, the exact same thing. You want Tide of Wisdom 3, no paint pattern, Tide of Wisdom 3 paint pattern, no symbol, caltrops, embossing. Pretty simple, but honestly, you're not going to be able to see it that well. All that would do is just add dressing and make it pop a little bit more. That's it. That's the only reason. For the material, this is complicated. For the material, the base material is going to be tar. You're going to want the tar base material, but you have 4 more things to add. For the head, you want basic iron. The only thing this is going to impact is the eye patch, and I don't know. I guess you could use tar. I don't think it would hurt anything, but I feel like iron looks a little bit more natural, and I just think that works a bit better. For the left and right shoulder, you want black iron, and the reason you want black iron is because it's just going to look a little bit nicer with the paint pattern you're putting on it. That's the only reason. Left arm, right arm, chest, and back will stay the same. The legs are going to be gold. And if you look down around the waist, you can see like little armor pieces hanging there. And if I change the paint pattern, you can see how they change. I made those gold, like maybe, and this was just a thought I had, maybe she took gold coins or gold or treasure that she accumulated and used it as part of her armor to, show that she's not going to treat this as just currency she wants to sit on. She's actually going to use it for something more practical now. Like she is a woman who has really had to rethink her identity and her outlook and everything she does. She's not just a pirate seeking fame or fortune anymore. She's a pirate with a mission, a lot like her friend Yen Shin and a lot like her savior Ruth was. So she's had a lot to think about and change about herself. So I thought that would work. For the back, You want the Tameless Seer 2. Tameless Seer 2, because that just looks really pretty, doesn't it? Now, there was another one that you could use. You could also go with, where was it? You could go with the Tide of Wisdom 1, which doesn't look too bad on it since you have the Tide of Wisdom set anyway. Or you could go with the Severed Destinies 2, which also looks good. But me personally, I really like the Tameless Seer 2, which you get from the Frostwind Knights event pass. For the legs, you want the Archways 1, because all it's going to impact is that little tuft of, that little strap of cloth just above her crotch. And I think that that looks really nice because the symbol is going to be Raven's Flight, which you get a Reputation 5 level 2. And it's going to look really nice seeing that sea raven just on top of that blue there. It's going to pop really nicely. So I think that looks really good. Okay. Okay. So last but not least, the color scheme. This is important. You want the Sea Raven color scheme, which you get in an outfit at Reputation 6. So you should have this early on. Now, you might be saying, Raven, why do I want the Sea Raven outfit? Because the color scheme you choose will impact her hairstyle. Her hair color will be impacted. And I love the white hair. I love that white hair. It looks so pretty. Her hairstyle her hair color will be impacted by the color you choose. And I honestly think that the white hair just looks great on her. That's the reason. Okay? All right. Now for the feats. You're going to want Armor Piercing Slug, Thrilling Comeback, Trick Shot, and Gunpowder Suppress. Now, all of these are just from her being a pirate. But the second one I picked because I feel like with Thrilling Comeback, this is her making her comeback. This is her actually having something she actually wants to fight for outside of just gold and glory. And so now she actually has something she believes in, and that gives her the temperament and energy to keep fighting. Okay? For executions, I went with a Wrathful Concision, Barroom Brawl, Hold Still, and What Do You Expect? All right, so the reason I picked these, Wrathful Concision is just a very quick execution, and in the story that I was kind of writing for her, she actually had to use this to quickly get away from Horkos. This is what she used to kill the person who was questioning her and preparing to take her captive before she ran away. Barroom Brawl, though she has turned her life around, she still loves herself a good drink, and sometimes things happen in the bar, you know? Hold Still is just probably the best pirate execution out there. It looks so solid, so I had to give it to her. And What Do You Expect? Again, just a really good execution that I had to give her, so there you go. That's the reason. Nothing more complicated than that. Emotes, Maritime Salute, and Elegant Greeting. And then My Bad. Okay, so she's a little bit of a klutz. And Raising Glasses. For signature, I chose Rule of the Sea. And for effects, I really didn't give her any. Let me double check, because I've made mistakes before. Okay, Idle, I gave her Riches of the Deep, but I didn't give her anything else for anything else. So there you go. All right, and that is how you build Gloria Yin or Lin Guiyin. What do you guys think? Let me know what you think about her in the comment section. I would love to hear your thoughts. I would love to hear what you think about her and what you think of the story I came up with. And that about wraps it up for the Order of the Righteous Sword. You have now seen all the characters, and I hope you guys like the idea. I thought it was a neat concept, and I will go ahead and say this. I thought about this as I was writing down all the names and stuff to put here. I realized that with the exception of Bao Shen, all the warriors here are ladies. So if you have any males that you'd like to add to the Order of the Righteous Sword, if you have any male characters that you think would be good members, let me know. We might be able to add them later because that'd be kind of fun. But it was not intentional. It was honestly not intentional that it turned out this way. But hey, you know. It's what it is. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I will see you in my next video. Take care.